Alright, well let's see if we can help out Holly and review some iPhone games. First up, Tiny Wings.
Tiny Wings is a simple score attack game with only one control. Press the screen to dive and release to fly. The aim is to go faster and further by timing your taps perfectly to reach the farthest island you can before the sun sets.
At first you'll probably find yourself diving straight into the side of a hill, but it's timing those dives perfectly that's what this game is all about.
Affirmative. You start off with a 0 times multiplier, which goes up every next level you gain, and then you need a high multiplier to get a decent score. But to level up your nest, there's always 3 challenges to complete, and some are pretty tricky.
Yeah, and I found hunting down these little objectives is what kept me coming back. But let's talk about the visuals for a second, because those hand-drawn graphics were just gorgeous.
Yeah, and I liked how the design and contours of each island are so different. Also, it's really cool how the look of each island changes every day you play. It's a very polished and beautiful game, and I think a lot of people will like this. Personally, I didn't really enjoy being a bird that much, but it's still a quality game, so I'm giving it 7.5 out of 10 rubber chickens.
I'm actually still playing this badge. In fact, I'd even go as far to say is that it's almost on par with the other mobile games that I've loved, like Fruit Ninja and Angry Birds. I'm giving it 9 out of 10 rubber chickens. Next up, Collision Effect.
In this game, you must clear all the screen of Zibbles. You do this by colliding same coloured ones together while avoiding collisions with other colours. Activating a Zibble by tapping on it will attract all the other Zibbles of the same colour directly to the Zibble you tapped. Hex, I think we should just call them orbs.
Yes, all right. There are 2 modes in Collision Effect. First of all, Action Mode, which is a score attack game with 3 difficulty levels to choose from, and it kind of feels like a cross between Geometry Wars and Osmos, where increasingly difficult waves of orbs will fly through until you lose.
This really gets the heart pumping, in a good way. It's a flight control type of stress times 1,000.
Letting the orbs fly too far without activating them will just cause chaos on the screen, so it's important to know which orb to tap and which colour to clear first. You really have to think quick, otherwise you'll end up with this. And then there's Puzzle Mode.
Oh yes, now this is pure brain-bending goodness. Here the orbs are stationary until you activate them. It's all about tapping the right orbs at just the right time, and some of the levels really require you to slow things right down so you can time your moves correctly. Like all the best puzzle games, it forces you to think in a completely different way, and while it'll take you a while to get through the 60 or so levels on offer here, I still wish there were more. Final thoughts?
This is a simple idea, but it's just executed so well. It's really sleek and polished, and I like the music too, so I'm giving it 9 out of 10 rubber chickens.
You know, I would have been happy to buy either of these 2 modes as separate games, but here you get them both, so I thought it was great. I'm giving it 9. Badge. Darren, I was so excited when I heard there was going to be a new Pilotwings. I was such a big fan of the one on Nintendo 64, and I have such fond memories of taking down Mega Hawk, the giant robot in my gyrocopter, skydiving, getting shot out of cannons.
You two can't fly, can you? It's a shame. Oh, did you know that the first Pilotwings game was among the first games to use the Super Nintendo's Mode 7 graphics? Mode 7 was a special feature of the SNES which allowed it to create stunning 3D graphics, for the time, of course. Other games that use Mode 7 include classics such as Star Fox, Super Mario Kart, and F-Zero.
Okay, Darren, thanks. Well, the new Pilotwings is here and it's called Pilotwings Resort, but Hex, it doesn't have any of that stuff you just talked about, so how does that make you feel?
Well, pretty disappointed, to be honest. I mean, it lacks that special something that made the 64 version so awesome. I mean, as you said, there's no robots, there's no skydiving, and there's no cannons.
The lack of giant robots is unforgivable! I did discover he is unlockable as a diorama, however.
Yay.
Yeah, a giant statue of a robot is nowhere near as cool as an actual giant robot rampaging around the place.
Affirmative.
Really though, my main complaint though is the game is just really small. Everything here takes place on Woohoo Island, which is exactly the same as it is in Wii Sports Resort. There's nothing new to explore. I mean, Pilotwings 64 had heaps of islands with lots of variety. There were cities, vast plains, mountains, forests, but this is just the one island that we've been to before and already flown around.
Well, what is here is just over 40 missions, which put you in control of a plane, a jetpack, or a hang glider, with a special variation of each vehicle as well. It's mostly about flying through rings, but along the way you'll need to take photos, put out fires, shoot balloons, or do specific stunts. I I liked how the speed gates force you to do some pretty risky maneuvers to get that 3-star rating.
My favourite was definitely the mission where they give you a squirrel suit. I mean, it kind of reminded me of the skydiving, but still there's only one mission that uses it. I mean, what's the deal? I demand more squirrel suit.
Sadly, it only took us 1 hour to play through all the missions on this game, which is way too short, and just under 3 hours to get 3 stars for every mission.
Yeah, there is some replay value though. I mean, at first I thought the game was being a bit daft because when you get a perfect score, it says play this again to get more points. I mean, how do you get more than perfect?
Being more than perfect is a physical impossibility, Hex. Take me, for example. You can't improve this. Check me out.
Well, apparently you can. There are ways to squeeze extra points out of the missions. I guess there's a challenge in having the highest score out of your friends, but there's no online Wi-Fi capabilities for leaderboards, so it's only ever your own name there, and I guess you have to resort to the old-fashioned talking to find out who has the highest score.
Lame. There's also free flight mode, which lets you choose any of the vehicles bar the squirrel suit to explore the island with. At first you're limited to just 2 minutes of free flight before you have to start a new session, but there's all sorts of collectibles to find out which unlock the 3D dioramas, as well as giving you extra time in free flight.
Free flight is good at first. It's satisfying hunting down those balloons and collectibles, but once you've found most of them, then the fun stops really. That's just it for the game. And with no multiplayer, there's really nothing more to it, which is sad.
I think the 3D is quite good for this game though, Hex. It shows what the 3DS can do, and judging distance is quite easy, but we're noticing an inherent problem with the 3D on the 3DS and racing or flying games, because when you're playing these games, no matter how hard you try, you can't help but move your hands a little bit, and the moment you do that, you lose the 3D.
Yeah, I found moving the 3D slider down a bit helped a lot with that. Overall though, I thought it controlled really well and it made good use of the circle pads. So, final thoughts?
Well, Hex, it's just too short. After a couple of hours in the campaign and then maybe an hour of free flight, you're pretty much done with this game. Simply because of that, I can't go higher than 5 out of 10 rubber chickens.
You know, admittedly this game had a lot to live up to because I enjoyed the game from the 64 era so much. But yeah, I did enjoy what was there, but I thought it would have been so much better if it just had at least one battle with Mecha Hawk. So I'm giving it 7 out of 10 rubber chickens.